Hi, I'm Simon Rushton and this is Taxi Chronicles podcast. On this podcast, we spontaneously interview unsuspecting passengers with their permission, allowing them to share their intimate life stories and concerns. As our slogan states, real riders, real stories. Some riders prefer to be anonymous, while others ask me to tell their story later on. Either way, there are all genuine 5 to 10 minutes stories, so sit back and enjoy this episode. Morning. Yes, we are back. Today we have another rider in the car. His name's Freddie and he's recovering from the night before. I asked him why he doesn't go out once in a while, but he says his recovery is a bit of an issue. So Freddie is in the property development industry and we're just going to have a chat about that, me being a site manager as my trade and what I qualified in. So Freddie, nice to have you here today.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, that's good. So tell us, how did you get into this restaurant building industry and what motivates you?
My father started his career as a furniture designer, and then every house we ever lived in he basically did up, so I kind of grew up in a house that was always being built, so it was sort of a natural move for me to go into it.
So are you a tradesman yourself?
I'm not. I design stuff and then I manage my team basically.
So you're not even a bit of a jack of all?
No, so my guys, whenever I pick up a hammer, they ask me to put it straight back down.
Okay, please boss, no, don't do it,
They say it just means it's going to take much longer to finish if I do that. So.
Okay, so when you said your old man used to design, he used to refurbish or fit out, was it just the kitchen or was it the whole house?
No, so the first house I lived in had 3 floors, but you could see the stars at night through the roof from the ground floor because it was that bust up. And yeah, he just did absolutely everything, and I really enjoyed the process, and I think that's probably where it all came from.
How did your mum deal with that?
A lot of sleepless nights and a lot of shouting at him, telling him to hurry up and finish it.
And I take it they're still married?
Sadly he's passed away.
Oh, okay.
But they are still married.
Okay.
And my mum's back in the West Country, still in one of the houses that we grew up in, actually.
Okay, well that's good. She's got memories, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Real sentimental. She probably wishes she could have him to shout at now.
I'm sure she still shouts it.
Shouts over in the sleep. Okay. Mm-hmm. So how long does these projects take? What are the kind of demands that customers are asking of you?
Well, the good thing about what I do is because we build restaurants as well as private houses, is that each one is very different, and you get a lot of creativity in each separate job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bit that I get excited by, is that somebody comes up with an idea and then you have to turn it into a reality, and that process is the bit that I enjoy of the building trade.
So you're like the engineer and the fit out guy?
Yeah, well, so it's my company and I employ the right people for the right job. So if we need an architect, we've got a couple of architects we employ, and I've got a team of 6 that work for me full time, and then when we need other people, we pull them in.
Is it? You say it's being creative. Do you have to guide the customer's vision, or most of the customers are just dead set on what they want?
There's usually really only ever 2 types of client. One that knows exactly what they're doing and what they want, and you just have to execute it for them, or the ones that you have to sort of, you definitely do a lot of hand holding, and equally they're both sort of fun to work with, because some people need the help and other people you just get on and get it done. So it's interesting. I like that aspect as well. I like the fact that I meet so many different people in what I do. That's good too.
Yeah, I can believe it. And you must have a great portfolio.
We've done quite a few, but that's because I'm getting old now.
How many projects do you reckon you've done?
So I reckon in London I think I've built about 8 restaurants, and then I built 4 in Africa.
Oh, is it?
In Ghana. But we built them in the UK and then we shipped them out there.
Okay.
So kind of like an IKEA sort of format, but much better design than that.
So is it solid wood you're dealing with, or the old MDF?
A bit of everything. I'm a massive fan of using proper materials like wood, but MDF is king now. Everyone's using it.
Yeah, I suppose it's cheap and affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can always just change the look of the kitchen by just changing the doors.
Exactly.
In 5 years to come.
People ask for that quite a lot.
Can you just change all my doors, please?
Yeah, just I don't want to spend any money, just make it look better.
Well, that's interesting because I never thought of it. That's a niche business as well.
Yeah, I do actually know someone that basically just does that. He goes around, people have like cheap kitchens, and he just offers to replace the fronts and respray them and stuff, and it's a good little business.
Yeah, all you need is a screw gun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Out of a
screwdriver and a spray painter.
Yeah. So on the spray paint? So he actually sprays the doors?
Yeah.
Or these are wooden doors?
He usually takes them off, takes them away, takes them back to his workshop, sprays them to whatever colour you want, and then brings them back.
Because you wouldn't be doing that with MDF. MDF would have to go.
Well, you can do that with MDF. A lot of the cabinets and stuff that we build are all built out of that. You just give it hundreds of coats of paint.
Oh, is it? Oh, you wouldn't get a new fresh veneer and stick on there?
Well, veneer is slightly different. I don't like using that stuff very much.
Oh, okay.
But you've got to give clients what they want.
Mm-hmm. So if people want to find you, where can they find you?
My company's called Scott and Willis.
Scott and Willis, so that's just SCOTT and then Willis, WILLIS.
Exactly.
And you're on Instagram?
We are indeed.
Yeah, so it's the same for Instagram?
Yeah.
All your social media platforms?
That's it. I don't really do any others. It's just Instagram. But Instagram's good because people can see what you're up to.
Yeah. Okay. You thought about TikTok?
No, I'm too old for that stuff. I don't know how
get
to
the kids to work it out.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. Kids will make you rich. No YouTube channel.
No YouTube channel.
You need to be on YouTube.
Don't know how to do that.
You need to be.
don't know how to do that. Don't have time for that.
Is it? You need to get a young person to do that for you. That's when you're really gonna get business. But I'm interested that you exported to Ghana.
Yeah, it was really fun. I built a restaurant in London, and then one of the guys that was working there went out to Africa to live, and he met a guy who was opening restaurants, and he turned around to him and said, if you needed anyone to do procurement and get stuff for you, call this guy. And so he called me up, and we did one restaurant, and he said, if this goes well, I'll do another one in 2-3 years. And after 6 months, he called me back and he was like, it's gone really well, let's do another one. And that's how we kept opening.
Did you fly out there to...
Never.
Never?
That's the most interesting
So you've never been to Ghana?
It's like I've never ever been there. I got invited to every opening, and just for one reason or another I never made it. But so I've never seen these restaurants in the flesh. It's quite sad.
Okay, because I have a sister podcast which I do called Africa Investor Stories, all about people from around the world who've invested in Africa and how the investments went.
Sure.
So that's why I'm very intrigued to hear his experience of what it was like and how it went. Especially, obviously, he's got to go through getting the kitchen through the fit out through customs and.
Yeah, so we literally put everything into a shipping container, and then 3-4 weeks later it would arrive, and then it would sit at the port for another 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then he'd have to go down and get it. And one of them was full of kitchen equipment, and the other one was full of the front of house stuff, all the design stuff that I did. And he couldn't get the kitchen stuff out. So I think
you had to pay a bribe.
Yeah, I think there was a bribe.
Yeah.
I think there was probably a bribe.
Sadly, it's a standard thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're connected, or you usually, I don't know. I could tell you about East Africa with Kenya. If you use the Somalians, they have their own way of dealing with things, get things through. But West Africa's quite different. So, what do you prefer? Do you prefer doing the restaurants or doing?
I suppose there's a bit of vanity in doing the restaurants because you know that lots of people are going to come and see what you've made. Whereas you do a residential property, it's just for the people that are going to live in it. But I find them both really interesting because you're building someone's home. You're being tasked with building someone's favourite place, and that's quite a nice thing to be doing. But then restaurants, you get a bit more creative. You have to do something that's going to draw people in. So
and they've got a theme, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought theme because it's restaurant like bar, kind of all as one. Okay.
But I would never own a restaurant.
You will?
No.
Okay.
Anyone that owns a restaurant in London's got to be mad. It's just so difficult to make money. You basically end up living there, working too hard to make it happen. And I've seen so many sort of come and go that.
That's interesting.
I'd never do it. I'm doing it myself.
But then people got to eat.
Exactly.
So would you probably are better off owning one of those kind of, not a pop-up, but where it's just takeaways, like just Uber Eats. Uber Eats.
Quite a good thing.
Yeah, that kind of things. People, and they get lazier. I could confess there's many a night I wanted to eat, and if it wasn't for Uber Eats, I would have eaten. I wouldn't have eaten.
My fiance is basically that person right now.
On another note, you must be dealing with a lot of housewives, dealing with kitchens.
There are a few housewives. And
that must be an interesting, because are they indecisive? Or is there a lot of hassle? What?
The good thing about the fact that I'm now quite old, I've been through that so many times with people that you kind of know how to deal with it.
And how do you deal with it? Share the inner secret.
Well, I don't know if there is an inner secret. I think you just got to be a good judge of character and then figure out each person individually.
Have you ever turned down a job just to say no? I don't think this is good.
Yeah, quite a few. I can walk in a room and know almost instantly, a couple of minutes, whether they're going to be a good client, bad client, or somebody you shouldn't work with at all.
So a good client, someone who pays and kind of knows what they want or willing to listen to you. A bad client is?
It's people that nitpick before you've even started. People that expect too much
for what they're paying.
When it's not a reality to achieve that. I also really don't like working for people that try and live in the property whilst you're doing the work.
They're trying to watch you, isn't it?
Well, it's just very difficult because it's your home. It's very difficult to be happy with loads of big burly men mucking around in your house at the same time. So it's difficult for them. It's difficult for the boys to do their job properly. So that's no fun. Okay. So we try not to do that much.
How has this whole lockdown affected you? Are people still interested in doing up their kitchens? A lot of people got a lot of money from the government.
Weirdly, we didn't, because construction basically didn't stop during lockdown. Because I'm based in West London, there's quite a few rich people there.
Yeah.
Most of them just went to their houses in the countryside, so they just called up and said, "Go and fix our houses." And there's no one in it.
Yeah.
Which I know wasn't the case for everybody, but we were lucky in that respect.
Okay, so if anything, you said, guys, we've got opportunity here. Let's not waste it.
Yeah, and we had to change the way we worked. So I basically let one guy have a floor each, so they were a distance from each other. And luckily, we didn't have any problems. It was good.
Okay. What would you say that you have learnt from, in all your years, you've been in this business, 20 years or something?
Yeah, about that.
So in your 20-year career, what would you say you've learnt that you wish you knew when you had started?
I think probably one of the best things that I've got is that if you look after your staff, they'll look after you. And I've got a very, very good team of guys that have been with me for a very long time.
Okay.
And it's a very dysfunctional, functional family.
So it's like a family business, really.
Well, so I've got a couple of Romanian guys that work for me, a couple of Polish guys, and then up until recently 2 Brazilian boys. And so it's quite a mix of people. Most people sort of just have teams from the same sort of place, but the Romanians are really, my 2 Romanians are really good finishers. They're really detailed. Mm-hmm. And then the Polish they're quite good at smashing stuff up. And then the Brazilians are just sort of relaxed and methodical. They never work fast, but they just cruise through stuff, and it's quite interesting to see the different dynamics,
So it's all quite a cultural reflection of where they come from.
Yeah.
Because Brazil being a hot, chilled out, loving.
And they are basically that. They sort of like they just sort of cruise around. So you can never get them to do anything any faster. So you have to accept that.
Yes, but they're loyal.
Yeah, they were really good. Yeah, they're all really good boys. I'm very lucky.
I'm not sure if you want to share this with them. This is episode.
No, I would never let them know how much I appreciate them. Got to keep them on their toes.
Okay, that's good. And but last but not least, what's the impact you want to have on the world?
The thing that I wish happened more often is that we always offer like a green alternative. So we say, look, this is the price for doing it the current way, but there's these solar panels and ground source heat pumps and things you can do to be more eco-friendly, but they tend to be more expensive at the moment. And so a lot of the time people say no to it. So I hope that in years to come that becomes cheaper and it becomes a standard that we start looking after this world rather than taking from it.
So yeah, you're concerned about the environment. That's good. What methods? I know that was the last question, but what methods in relation to the environment, as you put, what are that you recommend for people today?
Well, I think the biggest problem we've got in London is that double glazing and insulation is the best way to stop heat getting out of your house. You have double glazing and you have insulation, you really don't need to use your boiler as much and your heating as much, and therefore you don't expel as much
CO2,
carbon monoxide, and
carbon monoxide,
and then you're saving the planet as well as saving money in your pocket. So.
But would you say the temperature depends on the person?
Definitely. Because
I know I love the heat.
Yeah, so I hate being hot. I'd much rather be cold, because you can put a jumper on and do something about it, but you can't do it the other way around.
Yeah, I used to be in the military, so I used to hear that you can dress for the cold, but you can't do anything when you're sweating bollocks naked. Yeah. But on another note, I always say what is only uncomfortable about the heat is if you're in a contained space. So if you're like, let's say like we're sitting down on the PVC or leather seats, whatever they are, you become sticky, so you need to control the temperature.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting under a tree under a beach, the heat doesn't matter because the breeze, the palm trees, the breeze.
Take me there. That sounds great.
Everything's ideal. So we're obviously Europe is not based on being cold in that respect. Yeah. But thanks a lot for that, Freddie. Do you want to pump your company one more time?
Scott & Willis Limited. Come find us.
Okay then, thanks a lot.
Cheers,
Bye.
Buddy.
We hoped you liked that episode. Keeping in mind we never know who we're going to interview. We post twice a day, 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. GMT. Have you ever considered the future economies to invest in? Why not listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories? Considering Africa has the fastest growing economies and population on Earth and has done for many years, it holds 30% of the world's known natural resources. We publish twice a week, Tuesday with a guest investor and Fridays talking about investment, politics and history, providing a clear understanding for any potential investor.